Good morning. It's a dull, calm day. Excellent day to do the intro and outro for a video. I can see the screen and I don't need an extra mic. But in the last few days I cleaned out the veggie garden, the main planting beds. And so that's what I'm going to show you in this video. Finally we get out the beds. It was sunny yesterday, but the previous 2 days we had 24 millimeters of rain. So yesterday I went and cut some wood, and today now things should be dry enough that it should be fairly easy to prepare the garden beds today. Start with this onion bed. Like I said, I prepared them in the fall. I just have to rake off this top surface of bigger mulch that I had put on it. Now there's a couple of weeds in there. There are dandelions as well. This is a little tree seed they got there. See, I used a fork to loosen the soil to make sure I get them out, roots and all. So there's quite a few of these growing there. I'm going to leave them and let them grow a little bigger to see what they are. That is not just a native plant, it's some kind of garden plant. Now this bed, if you recall, had quite a lot of flowers in it last year. Chamomile, cosmos, a few other things. And I hand weed and just keep the other vegetation down far enough so that the crops that I'm wanting to grow can flourish. And so with a lot of higher crops over and above, I got a lot of weeds to take out now in the spring, which means I'm going to have to go through and loosen the entire bed first and then get my seat, sit down and go around and weed it out. This is my beans was the other thing I had in there. Too hot for any jacket at all. Now of course when I'm weeding I still need a little hand weeder. I can just throw them down there and I rake it up afterwards. You see, that's the thing. Even though I have soil loosened, some places I still might want to poke it underneath it to get the root out. Especially if it's grass. A cutworm. I didn't have any problem with those here as of yet. There's a chamomile growing here, 2 of them in fact. But I'm going to go through and weed this out entirely anyway, because I want to put the rutabaga in here, and I'm going to have to restart chamomile. I gotta decide how I'm going to go about doing it. And that didn't take very long at all. I am very pleased with that. And that was the weediest of all the beds. I'll turn the camera off, and when I'm done weeding and raked up the weeds that I've pulled out, I'll show you what I've got done. Actually, before we start, let's look at the other beds and see what we have to do. So I had to rake the mulch off of this one, the stuff that I just put on there for the winter. Mostly is ashes on this one, so I just have to take out the few weeds that you see and rake it flat. This one has a few weeds in it, but not as much as the other one I just done. The potato beds, I'll try to see how much of that grass I can get out, but for the most part they'll stay just as they are. Strawberries, need to cut off the dead leaves and brush any ashes away from the plant itself. And this one the same thing. There's a couple blades of grass, but not many. This one I'm going to take out these stakes I got around here again. This is where the beets are going to go. So there's some dandelions there. For the most part it's dandelions and a few blades of grass. And I'll take all the dead stuff off of these Brussels sprouts. Remember, we want to see if they will grow up and go to flower this year. This one here, there's not much in it. Some sorrel there, half dozen dandelions, and some grass mulch down there. This one, take the stakes out, few dandelions in there, rake off the mulch. Those two big plants, I still want to find out what they are. Rhubarb, of course, just sits as it is. This is another bad bed with respect to grass down in this corner, but go through it, rake it over flat. We sifted this one out last year, and so it's pretty good, but it's lower because of course we've got all the rocks out of it now. This one we're not going to be using, and that back one back there. So this is the remains of the cole crops that was there last year. The back end is the rhubarb, so we're not going to touch that. We're just going to clean up this area. Same with this one. Just clean up the front half. I'm going to be putting potatoes here, I think. I have to check my diagrams. So for the most part, I've got a problem with the, I think it's cell field, but I don't know. Confirm what the plant that is in the back corner there. I'll give you a close-up so that if any of you guys know, you can let me know what that plant is. And a bit of grass over in the other corner. But these are going to be potatoes. And the same here. So I was also wanting to sift these and get the tree roots out. So I'm probably not going to do anything with these today. This one doesn't have to be touched for the most part, and this one definitely. And there's nothing to do with it because potatoes are going there. But these here, even though like this one doesn't have much weeds, I want to sift through that and get the feeder roots from the trees out and that, and have a layer of soil on top that will make it a decent bed to grow potatoes in. And then clean up the dead stuff that we see in the herb bed, and there is some sorrel too. The sorrel is quite a bit of sorrel in the herb beds. This is the one we made last year, so for the most part, once again, we just got some dandelions in it. And so here we are. Make sure I can hold the camera straight. The onion beds are ready. That was the bed that had the most weeds in. I was thinking about sifting out at least that bed for both of these beds, but I checked the forecast and they have rain off and on for the next 2 weeks, so carrots had to be planted tomorrow. This bed now, as you can see, there is a lot of rock in it. Beans are going there. They're going to be planting it on June the 1st, so I got another 3 weeks. I'm going to sift that out. Strawberries, nice and clean. I lost a few, but that's not unexpected. Not well, I don't know if I should say a few. It's really very few. Most of them have survived. When I raked off this bed, the biggest of those 2 plants, it just turned right out, so I removed it. That was the only one that was really rooted in. I planted some radish, champion radish, among the rhubarb, just to see what would happen. And here's the Brussels sprouts after I removed all the stuff that died over the winter. And they're not looking that great, but this is where I'm expecting the flower shoots to come from. This one looks like everything has died. There's one right down the bottom there. Now this one is really healthy, see? And then there's that bed there. So we go over, I was doing a shade profile of this plot, and that back there, that bed in the back, the little outside portion you can consider partial shade maybe, but in the back is full shade, and there's a little bit of full shade even on the outside of this one, so, and the rest of it partial shade. So I'm not going to use any of those beds. And then I've got all along in the back here, all of those beds, of course, there's partial shade. And these first, the herb bed and the next 4 down, they're pretty much full sun. So that's good. That's what I was analyzing. This is not the potatoes, so I got that one raked off and weeded out. And that one, I think, right now I'm thinking that chickpeas is going in that one, and black turtle beans is going in this one. So this one here has a lot of rock too, so it might get sifted out. The rooster hears me, see, that's why he's crowing. Never touched this one, just there was a couple weeds I took out of it. And I raked the was really ugly looking brush off of these, and it wouldn't be that good when I was sifting them anyway, so I just raked the brush off the potato beds here, the really big stuff. So it's looking nice. I've got all the weeds out of everything, including, remember the big bunches of weeds that was creeped in on all 3 of those beds down on the end. So the beds are perfectly clean. The herb bed is cleaned out. So we can go around now and look down closely. Here is the shoots coming up from the echinacea that's here. There's a white echinacea, and right here, so they're just starting to grow. This is the St. John's wort, and you see what has happened here? One of the branches laid down, and it has rooted out here. So I could just cut that right there, and this would be another St. John's wort plant. That's onion chives. That's a thyme. That's the one that the center died out of last year. And so I cut out the center and then I cut it in 3 pieces. And so that one's seemingly coming back well. This here is the growth for the French tarragon. That's a weed right there. That's French tarragon there. I always worry about the sage since that year where it died on me. It doesn't look that healthy there right now, but we'll see what happens as the season goes. Coming right along, lovage. That's going to be a huge plant. Now that I got this all cleaned out, you can see how much catnip I have, eh? There's a lot of it. I'll dig some of these up and put them in other places, especially those that's right in tight to the lavender. Got to remember the name now. I got calendula, which I think is an annual, so they won't be coming back. I got one plant right there, and that was Ella Campaign. I got to see if that's a perennial or not. The oregano back there is not growing yet. I didn't get to take the dandelions out of this bed, but so now we've got everything, all the beds cleaned up. We got this one. I need to make one more here. That's a need. I'm going to do it the same as that one, just do a no-dig bed on top of the ground, just because I'm feeling in a rush to get things done. So potatoes go there. Now, I thought about putting extra beds down there because the way I have to set up my sprinkler systems, it's going in with the garlic, I think, the sprinkler, and there's going to be just like watering the meadow, which is kind of a waste of irrigation, but it overlaps with the one that I'm going to put back here, which will be sending water right out to the golden raspberries and the cherry tree. But to make it easier on me and to start turning this more into the forest land instead of meadow, I'm going to start planting back here. And slowly but surely, I'll make no-dig beds now and pathways so that it looks similar to what's here. Work my way back and then replace the beds with perennials as I get the perennials to put in there. But for this year, my extra bed of turnips and the cabbage and whatever, they can be back here, I think. So the main garden patch is ready now, and we all work down. Like I said, I have to plant carrots tomorrow, but then I'll work down front and get the other areas down around the fence and the south side of the house ready, and everything will be ready to plant. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and hit the like button, leave me a comment, and I'll see you in the next video.